Welcome back. This is the Raised by the 90s podcast. I am Peter Z, and I'm here with
Toby Freeze.
What was up this week, Toby? How are you doing?
Pretty all right, man. Feeling a little off today, but had solo duty with the puppy over the weekend.
Yeah.
And it actually wasn't that bad. So
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
No wasp attacks or anything?
No, there's still wasps out there, but I think maybe we've met with a happy resolution because they don't really attack me anymore. I did get rid of those traps too, so maybe that is why they were so aggressive.
I was going to say, do I need to book a plane ticket? If they attack Sage, I'm going to be out there.
Nah, he's good.
We're going to be burying some wasp bodies. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's good to hear that they've left you alone for the most part. And there's not much summer left, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not where you're at, but it's going to be 97, 98 here for the next 7 to 8 days. So
maybe go put a little mirror under any nests or wasps, hives you find, and heat them up a little bit more, fry them all. There you go.
For sure. Yeah, I think they're just using our wood as material for nests that they're building off-site somewhere.
Gotcha.
Which it's fine. You know what am I gonna do about that?
Yeah.
I did want to bring something up. I'm a big fan of technical death metal.
Oh, cool.
Right? And there's some bands out there with some wacky names, but it fits.
Dying Fetus.
I just wanted to give a shout out to this one band that I found this weekend.
Who's that?
Eaten by Sharks.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Through a buddy. I've not listened to them extensively, but yes, I've heard of the name. And, just perusing guitar forums where people are like, who's the craziest? And you get bands like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Highly recommend. Very, very tight.
Yeah. Some of those are 1 or 2 man deals too, where it's all, you know what I mean? They're almost producers in it, but they can play drums and guitar and bass super sick. And half of them, it's the line between bass and guitar is skewed as it is. So
yeah, for sure.
No, that's cool. I'll give it a listen. No, my brother and I always got a kick out of the lyrics for Dying Fetus. And then when I got older and listened to some of it, I was like, this is unbelievably tight. Wow. Okay. Yeah, the lyrics are still ridiculous, but yeah. Anyways.
How was your weekend?
I did get to enjoy some of the last of the summer sun. I went to a wedding and I saw not 1 but 2 suits end up in the pool. So
really,
that was a thing to celebrate for sure. And my buddy's getting married. That is wonderful, and congrats to him. But certainly the highlight. And there was a giant inflatable pair of lips and a unicorn in the pool. Which was, 10 feet away from where the ceremony was taking place. So, yeah, lots of fun was had there.
What kind of weddings are you going to, Peter?
Oh, it was a wedding, all right. It was pretty crazy. Yeah. I was putting the little kids that were swimming, I would put them on the unicorn. And I'd tell them, you got to sit down and chill. Don't fall over. And they'd be on there. I turn my head, turn back, and they're already in the water. And it's yeah. Oh, man. Should have seen that coming, but no.
Yeah, that's kids for you.
Yeah, it was a fun time. So I was being a bit of a lifeguard, but also soaking up some sun. So that was fun.
Gotcha.
And a bunch of champagne. So
champagne is always good.
Yeah. So that was my weekend. But this week we are going to be discussing, I guess I would call it a surprise hit series from the 90s. And it was birthed in the 90s. I guess its true popularity grew in the 2000s, but undeniably came from a culture that was very late 80s, very strong in the 90s. If I remember correctly, this one, the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater, is it Tony Hawk's or Tony Hawk?
I'm going to take a guess and say it's Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
I think this needs to be put to rest right now. Let's figure this out. Let's
clickety clackety on those keyboards, Peter.
You should hear my live streams when I slam that space bar. Oh yeah. Okay, it is Tony Hawk's apostrophe.
Okay. Well,
S.
I was wrong.
Well, it would work either way, so it's fair.
Yeah.
But I applaud you for taking a guess though, because I think I said it wrong. So sorry if I set you up there. So we've got released by Neversoft and Activision, and I certainly remember that eyeball logo, don't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's burned into my brain.
How many times? I think on those loading screens that might have been burned into my CRT television.
Yeah.
I mentioned where the games kind of came from. I never was big on skating. I actually thought it was really cool, and I tried doing it a little bit, but I did not quite have the build for it or much support for it. You know, my dad would always tell us like breaking your wrist because you were skateboarding is a pretty dumb reason to miss out on your sports and stuff. And I was like, I see your points. Like, yeah, you're not likely to break your bones even in wrestling, when in skateboarding injury is part of the grind, if you will. So what can you tell me a little bit about your experience with skateboarding culture in the 90s?
Yeah, for sure. We were into it pretty, not super early, not when it was like, Dogtown skating in abandoned pools time, but it was around like, I'd probably say 96, 97.
Cool.
Where me and my older brother were really into skateboarding along with every other kid in our neighborhood.
Cool. Can I interject with a question here?
Go for it.
Which neighborhood? Where were you at?
Southern California.
Oh man. So yeah, I bet a lot of people are obsessed with skateboarding. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it was the boomtown for sure. So
that's the things I've always pictured, where you had like a local skate scene, and people in a shop you could go to regularly.
Yeah, for sure.
Was that what it was like for you? Tell me about a day when you went out skating with you and your bro.
I mean, it was like a normal day for the most part. Back then, there was a bunch of kids in our just little neighborhood, or just around the block, that were into it. So you'd probably see maybe 15 to 20 kids hanging out either at a park behind our house, a park kind of like a mile away, or in front of someone's house with a quarter pipe.
So at skate parks or just parks?
We didn't really actually get a skate park until, I want to say, 2000 or 2001.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, I didn't know if skate parks were widespread at that point, so I was curious.
Yeah, they were there. Like Vans had a huge skate park in Southern California, in Orange County, and we went there a couple times.
Nice.
But it was too big for me,
especially
at that age.
Challenging, yeah, for someone your age, serious skater stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But one of your neighbors or friends had a half pipe?
No, actually, our neighbor growing up in our neighborhood, he had his own construction company, and he actually made us like a couple of quarter pipes.
Nice.
So it was just the half of the half pipe.
Yeah, but that's still sweet. That's not many people have access to that.
No, yeah, definitely a lot of fun on that thing. And then I think they actually got stolen by someone in our neighborhood. They just loaded them up on their pickup trucks and just left.
Wow.
But
I was picturing a much heavier object, but apparently not.
I mean, they were pretty heavy, but it was just like some plywood and 2x4s.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. So it clearly was the cool thing. What drew you two in particular to skateboarding?
I can't really pinpoint it, to be honest. It was definitely that California culture.
That's kind of what I feel is it was just the time and the place.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. And like X Games was big and everything like that. So.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. So no, I actually thought that the birth of that culture was a cool era. I've seen it come a long way, and I don't know if I enjoy where all of skater culture went, but
yeah, it kind of branched off, and I'll bring that up a little later.
Okay. All right. So it's kind of clear then when the game came out why you were interested. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, super fair to say.
Okay.
Yeah. As someone who didn't skateboard, such as yourself, what kind of drew you to it?
Oh, well, the exact same thing, except that I wasn't living the dream. I was living vicariously through a video game.
Gotcha.
So, no, skateboarding was cool. And that went far beyond just the kids actually doing it in California. I certainly had some friends that skated. And even when I was in high school, like skater shoes were really popular to wear.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I had a pair or two of those that were pretty sweet, in my opinion.
Do you remember the brands?
Etnies.
Etnies? Yeah, I had some Etnies.
They were, I'll be honest, I'm not a big shoe guy, and shoe fad stuff, not into it at all. People who collect shoes, it's you do you. Different strokes and all that, but not interested. I put them on at my friend's encouragement, and they were like fluffy pillows on my feet.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap. I don't even care what they look like. Yeah. So
yeah, I definitely got called out. I mean, I got called out on a couple of different occasions skateboarding as a kid. And one of them was because I had Etnies on and someone called them girl shoes.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
So
I don't understand.
I don't know. They just had that style, you know?
Oh, you know what? Those Adidas shoes were really popular with the 3 stripes growing up. At least in my area, and the girls one were flat, but I don't care about shoes. I don't think shoes are very cool. I think shoes are something you put on your feet.
Yep.
As function. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And when you want to skateboard well, you put on skating shoes. So back to what you were asking about. No, I thought skating was very cool. And not only that, I got to be real. The game was incredibly fun, intuitive, and just like extremely memorable. I was, around 10 or 11 that time when it first came out. Do you remember the thing that distinguished it amongst other cartridges?
No.
It was blue.
Oh, yeah, it was blue. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I didn't have it for N64.
Oh, really?
To be quite honest, I didn't even know they made it for N64 until I played it at my cousin's house on N64.
I didn't even realize you played it on PlayStation then, right?
Yep.
I didn't even know it came out on PlayStation until right now.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 came out on PlayStation. And I got exposed to it through a buddy who also was in the same situation, who wanted to skate, but was like a wrestler and soccer player and expected to do well at school, not really able to run off and skate all that much. So
yeah, for sure.
He exposed me to that game and we loved it. And every level just felt like a whole world to us at that age.
Yeah.
He had for N64, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and then for PlayStation, he had 2.
Gotcha.
I don't want to get into it too early, but I didn't like 2 quite as much. It did add to the game mechanically, but let's save that discussion for later. So that was my first exposure, was through my buddy, and eventually I wound up having a copy of the cartridge too.
Gotcha.
And got pretty good at that version of the game. Which leads me to a question. I think I know the answer, but just how far are they pushing the bounds of reality of skateboarding here?
Pretty far, man. Pretty far. Like it's actually hard to make it make a realistic run or line in the game.
Yeah, with my limited experience skateboarding, doing something as simple as an ollie is like a huge first hurdle to get over. And that's just one button in the game where you can grind for minutes on end. Yeah. So what kind of stuff could you actually do though? Were you able to do any tricks or anything?
Yeah, not as good as my older brother or other friend. They were crazy with skateboarding, dude.
Some are really good. Yeah.
Yeah, they had no fear. They could bust out tricks over stairs and gaps and stuff that I was just like, how do you guys do it? And but I could do your normal. So yeah, I could do your normal street stuff for the most part. I was never really big on vert.
That's cool.
Skating.
That's cool.
Yeah, only because I never really got the physics for that. So
I think for a while and maybe still my cousin would ride around on his longboard just as a convenient form of travel because he always skated and he did all sorts of stuff. But nowadays he's like, yeah, man, it's just chill to ride on your longboard on the street and do some fun weaving in and out of stuff, you know? So it's,
oh yeah,
there's some fun to that too. But
yeah. So I could do your basics like I could ollie, kick flip, heel flip, pop shove it.
oh,
It took me a while to get 360 flips.
oh wow, that's
So-
actually that's pretty dope. I gotta say, I can't imagine being able to do that. I would fall over and hurt myself. So
I could never really do them down obstacles. It was all flatland for the most part.
yeah, I mean that's kind of what I pictured, but it's still really difficult to do. So it's like, all right, I guess the follow up to that is like if I wanted to pick Toby Freeze in the lineup when I'm playing Tony Hawk, what kind of and let's be real here. I know you're not a pro skater and you don't have to feel pressure to compare yourself to them, but where would you put your basic stat allocation on the Tony Hawk scale?
All right, so I was a little bit chunky when I was a kid, you know?
Oh yeah.
A little bit chunkier. I had some stuff going for me, but others not so well. If you were on me on the character screen,
Yeah.
and I have my skateboard there, and I was just waiting for you to pick me, you'd see the stats as, let's see, air would be 2 out of 10. Didn't really have a whole lot of get up there.
Yeah.
And same goes for hang time, you know?
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that would suffer as well a little bit, wouldn't it? But that's okay.
Okay. And then the ollie, I couldn't ollie super high, but I could ollie, so I put that as a 3.
Okay.
It was serviceable. It got me up curbs.
Yeah, you get off the ground and enough to do a 360 flip apparently. So
Yeah. Yeah. So it was there. And then this one goes back to the weight. Speed would be 6.
oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, it's okay. You're coming down that hill. You didn't get a ton of hang time, but watch out. He's flying. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Spin would be 2. Again, going back to the hang time in air, just didn't really have the
vert wasn't your thing, so
yeah. Landing was a 3. I never really followed through on landing because landing you got to have real
tough.
not tough knees, but you got to know how to kind of fold yourself up when you're hitting the ground.
Yeah,
and distribute all your weight. And I never really just got it.
I was gonna say, I think especially if you like lost weight as you got older. I think when I think of the best skateboarders, they're those skinny guys, and you'd think having a good center of gravity to deal with would help. But I think just being able to, like you said, crunch up, fold up when you need to is really critical. So yeah, no, that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. My brother and friend were pretty skinny. So
yeah,
they had that build.
Yeah. I did not have a skateboarder's build. I was very top heavy, so I was just asking to fall over by stepping on it. So,
gotcha. For Switch, I would say 0. I could not
tough.
do Switch tricks at all. So I'm naturally goofy.
Okay. But that's cool.
Yeah, regular, I can't do at all. Probably still to this day.
So to clarify, goofy is when your left foot is the back one doing like the work?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and regular is when your right is the back.
I would be regular then. Yeah, so that is different. I do shoot pool with my left hand. Everyone asks me why, and I was like, well, I'm aiming with my dominant hand, right?
Yeah.
And then hitting it with my left hand. That's just force. It made sense to me. I can shoot both ways now, which is just awesome. So not that I'm any good at pool, but
I can't. I still only can shoot left.
I'm better at left, but when instead of having to do like behind the back shot, I just switch hands, and people are like, "What?" I'm like, you think I'm left-handed? I just learned the wrong way. So the last couple ones pertain to your combos. What you got?
Yeah. Rail balance would be 4. I wasn't too bad on the rail, but I definitely lost my footing a few times growing up.
Yeah.
Lip balance would be 2. I never got any practice with lip balance. I could do rock and rolls and maybe some, forgot the name of the other one, where the tail of your skateboard goes up to the lip.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Those are kind of not that appealing or cool
Yeah.
to me. And maybe other skaters thought the same. I don't know. Or I wasn't a skater, but
Yeah. Well, I did so many rock and rolls as a kid. I remember I was at the skate park and this guy who was probably around 16 came up to me and I was maybe 9 or 10 or 11, somewhere around there. And he took a look at my skateboard and he's like, "You're carving these in yourself. You're not doing any real board slides or anything." And I'm like, "I'm doing rock and rolls on this thing right here where my board goes vertical, you know?"
What a hater and gatekeeper. What a loser.
Yeah, there was a bunch of gatekeepers at that skate park, but
that was one of the things that kind of pushed me away a little. I'm sure it was a lot more accepting in general in California, though, compared to where you had to be in the cool kids skater club in Illinois. So
yeah, and that's just dumb kids in general, especially teenagers or close to being
kids.
teenagers.
I don't blame them. Yeah, even I mean, middle schoolers are almost like even worse.
Oh yeah, for sure, because they have no experience or filter.
Just like that. So with all those in mind,
wait, hold on, I had one more.
Or you had one more? Yeah.
Manuals I put as a 6 because I can manual.
Just roll for days.
Pretty well. I had that balance for some reason.
All right. So that's where that low center of gravity came into play for you.
Exactly.
Is the speed and the manuals.
Yep.
And then some of that balance. So that's cool. But with all that in mind, did you ever did you ever eat it? That would be the correct nomenclature for the hello, my fellow skaters, right?
Yeah, we had a word for it. It was bales.
Yeah.
So when you had a skate video going on and you'd get to the bale section, that was the section where they all got hurt.
Where everyone biffed it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was really conservative when I was trying to do tricks.
Why am I not surprised, Toby? Yeah. It's almost like I haven't known you for like 6 years, 7 years now. Yeah. No, I'd be the same way.
Yeah. I never really took a whole lot of risks, but the worst I had was bombing down a hill in our town to go down to the skate park. And it was a steep hill, so I was probably going around 15, 20 miles an hour.
Ooh.
And I just crashed right into a rock that hit my front truck of my skateboard, and I went flying.
Oh, you went like over it? Over the top?
Yeah, I went over it, and I probably slid maybe like a good 5 feet on the ground after already going through the air, maybe 5 or 10 feet. So, Yeah, and I had an interesting wound on my elbow after that. Interesting shaped wound, I should clarify.
That's rough. Yeah, that's rough. It's given me flashbacks to multiple crazy bike injuries I had, but that's neither here nor there.
That's Matt Hoffman's BMX.
I wasn't trying to do tricks. I was just trying to ride, and things went catastrophically wrong. And I may or may not have been completely out of my mind at the time once, but you know.
Gotcha.
So, did you end up playing the game with your brother? I'm glad you made it away without too many injuries. Maybe having a bit of extra padding helped on the bones and stuff, you know. But did you end up playing it with your brother or like, you know, your other skater friends? Let's really dissect the games.
It was a mix and all together for the most part.
Okay.
Definitely more with the brother than the friends, obviously because we live together.
Yeah. I think my brother, it took him a little while to enjoy the games. He at first was not, well, he was a bit less interested in skateboarding. It wasn't that cool to him. But once he saw how the games played and how fun they were and how much fun I was having, I think, and you know, they were hits. And it's interesting. I believe that when they gave it to Neversoft, they busted out a beta in like 9 months. And the publishers were so impressed, they called in Tony Hawk and he was like, "This is awesome. Yeah, I will put my name on this." They wanted to buy him out right away. And he's like, "I think I'll take the royalty deal." And I wonder how much of his net worth is from this 10 game series or however many have come out with his name on it. So
good chunk.
Yeah. But, so I have noticed a bit of a rift as the games went on, there are people that really enjoy the original arcade style. And then people that, maybe they just got into the games later. They like the open world skating environment. Yeah. In that broad sense, what do you prefer?
I was more on the open world side.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. Because I thought you might have, like me, grown up with the 2-minute timer and thought that was the pure THPS experience.
Yeah, the only thing with the first one, I mean, I obviously like it and still like it. It's a little claustrophobic to me. The levels.
The first game does feel a lot different nowadays. Yeah, definitely.
So what about the arcade style kind of drew to you?
Well, I was a child with ADD and I was incredibly competitively driven.
Okay.
So me and my other buddy from wrestling, or me and my brother or whoever I was playing with, would just be firing up 2-minute runs, pick the levels, skate, and we would play for hours. And it didn't really matter who won.
Yeah.
We would just try and have a good time. You're 11, who cares? But it was a ton of fun. And then as I got a little older, when I was playing them by myself, like the retry menuing was so ingrained in my head. It was, again, as it was with other arcade games, I was all about getting that monster combo. And the moment you realized you missed part of it, it's start down square, whatever. Get right back into it, retry. So that kind of appealed to me rather than I wasn't a skater and it felt like I was playing Pokemon replaced with skateboards when I played the other games, which was fine, but it was also like not what I was interested in it for. But how about which one had your favorite balance of the mechanics?
Definitely 2.
Really? Which is the second little rift I've noticed is there's like the 2 and a lot of people love 2 and 4 and the other people love 3 and 1.
And I hate 3.
3 is my favorite. 3 is, in my opinion, the absolute pinnacle of all the games. And I put way more time. So this is perfect. What about 2 really drew it to see? You probably knew more of the skaters and stuff. I'm wondering if any of that had to do with it.
I think because 2 was more centered, like you could still do vert stuff, but it was more centered on street skating.
Well, that's when you could first manual, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it definitely, I mean, it had actual real places in the game too.
Oh, that's cool.
Especially places that I was kind of close to.
Yeah.
That the school level was based off of was maybe 20 or 30 minutes away from where we were at. So,
see, and I remember reading about the first one, how they just threw stuff together. So that was a completely different design ethos, taking real places. Yeah. Interesting.
So I think that's why I liked it so much compared to the first one.
That makes sense. And also my child baby brain was messing with my interpretation of it because we were playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater on N64 and it looked gorgeous.
Gotcha.
And then we're playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the PlayStation and I'm seeing all the jaggies jump to every little vertex every time you move. And I'm like, this looks like shit. Why would I ever play this? And the colors just look different and stuff. But no, I can look past that now and you could probably, I think, didn't they come out with a remaster of both of them,
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, no, that was me not understanding why I was being critical. I didn't give it a fair chance, but I just thought if we were saying manual was added in 2, once you added in the revert, this might be a bit specific, but players, if you played it, will remember the Arctic level, the snow level in Tony Hawk 3. You go down, you hit that rail, and you follow that all the way around. Then you do a revert trick on that half pipe or quarter pipe, and then you hit back on the rail, and you repeat going back and forth as many times as you can, and you get that 12 million combo. But without that mechanic, that's impossible, or you have to find ways to extend your grind other ways, which I think they did build 2, 4, but adding in that one little thing just made the combo so clear that what you could do, and there was options too. It was great.
For sure.
No, it had its shortcomings too. So I see that. I see that. What do you think of 4 when they started moving towards the open world?
So 4 was, besides 2, 4 is my favorite.
Okay. And we're on, my hypothesis was right. There is like this little split. And I actually think my buddy that I played with was the same. He preferred playing 2, but he had both of them. So when I was over, we played 1 until I got it. So it was kind of, I had a lot of fun playing 4 too. I didn't own it, but I think that was right at the line of where it was like doing skate quests and you still felt like a skater rebel versus that comparison I drew earlier where it's like you're in skater world and everything's skating. And it's like, it's fine, but it just felt a little different to me.
Yeah, for sure. And I think with the 4th one, because that was the next gen Tony Hawk, that was PS2. But they also had a PS1 version, and we didn't have a PS2 yet. So I think we had Tony Hawk 4 for PS1, and it was way toned down.
Is that a thing? Wow.
Yeah.
Because Tony Hawk 3 was on PS2.
Yeah.
That's what
I think we had that for both. I think we had 3 and 4 on PS1 until we got a PlayStation 2.
Gotcha. And I never had a PlayStation, so this is I guess I could have played them on my PlayStation 2, but the timing is more what we're talking about. So, I just put in the most hours on 3. I never put in a lot of time playing Underground or American Wasteland. Did you play those?
Underground was my last one that I remember putting serious hours into.
And we're getting way out of the 90s at that point, right? Yeah.
Yeah, still Tony Hawk though.
Tony Hawk's still a legend. I don't think he's had many scandals or any problems befall him, has he?
No.
Yeah, he's always been a good dude, always been a good face for skating, you know? So that's good for him. Glad he got his name on a good set of video games. That's cool.
Yeah.
What about what else did you see in the evolution of the game? You know, what are the strengths and the weaknesses that you perceived moving through the series?
Yeah, so the first one, I mean, the strength obviously was just how well it was received and how groundbreaking it was when it first came out, because there was nothing else like it.
That's a good word for it.
There was a Thrasher game out around the same time. I think it may have only been for PlayStation, but I think it was 2D.
Like the clothing skater company?
Thrasher, yeah. They had the magazine. They were more known for their magazine. They had clothing and I think skateboards in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was Thrasher magazine was the big thing.
And people wearing shirts for their merch.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool. I remember reading, they went and they were studying. It was like an old game like that, like you were saying, like an old Japanese arcade game. So maybe this is a different one. But the developers would go and play that on their lunch break, and then they came back and would try and integrate ideas into this 3D world. And
gotcha.
I just couldn't believe how well they did on their first try with it, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of like GoldenEye, where they just hit it out of the park.
Yeah, you just nail it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what about as you went on? So you said two was one of your favorites, and 3 was not exactly. It wasn't a bullseye for you.
Yeah. So 2 opened it up a lot more. The levels felt more complete.
That's fair.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was kind of they were small yet big, which is like, if you haven't played the game, you don't really understand.
I know what you mean though. No, I know what you mean. And it's the same with 3, where that was the perfect balance for me of like video game. The NPCs were so clearly not people that I could run into with my skateboard, and it didn't have any moral implication. I'm a skater. They're pixels. Like,
for sure.
You know, and the music was great. the time limit kept my brain going on this constant buzz.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once the things opened up, that kind of, I got a little more distracted and less focused. So that's kind of where it towed the line perfectly for me, but I still had a lot of fun with the other ones.
For sure.
Did you see a change in the culture of skating reflected in the games? Like how did skating culture change?
So it did, like I've mentioned before, it did kind of go off into a couple different directions.
Yeah,
especially nowadays. It's a whole different monster nowadays. But when I stopped skateboarding in around 2004, 2005, the culture really did move more towards what's kind of the craziest trick I can do down these stairs or down this handrail if you're a street guy.
It's the same thing that happens with every competitive thing. It just becomes a dick measuring contest for that stuff. And it is great to see, but you don't want to see the joy sucked out of it either.
Yeah.
It's tough. It becomes this whole, and I'm sure a whole other aspect of it has become corporatized and just, I don't know how to put it, but it doesn't feel.
Yeah, it's definitely, and that happens with every counterculture thing, since the 60s.
That's the word I was looking for. I was like, an underground counterculture movement can't go mainstream by definition. You know?
Exactly.
That's kind of how you kill it. So for better or worse, that may have been what happened. Not that skateboarding isn't still great and it isn't a really cool thing. Totally is. I think it's awesome, but it definitely changed. And I remember just some of those old bad skater movies. They just captured the culture. The names aren't coming to mind, but that felt right. And if you tried to make that movie today, it isn't there. Everyone's on their smartphone filming their tricks. You don't have your camcorder with your tapes
and your fisheye lens.
Yeah. My cousin used to show me his skate vids. They were pretty cool. They were pretty sweet.
Yeah, skate videos. I mean, I could talk about skate videos all day, but
do you still have any? Did you ever make some cool ones?
So actually, when I was cleaning out the storage unit a few months back, the first VHS to grace my eyes in there was a VHS copy of Shorty's Fulfill the Dream, which was like the pinnacle of skate videos.
Really?
96 or 97?
Okay.
Or 98, somewhere around there.
So I could probably find it on YouTube and watch it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Sweet.
Yeah, it is. It's the creme de la creme.
Nice.
Of skate videos.
Oh, that's so cool. You wouldn't find that out just by like.
I kind of had to be in the moment.
Maybe searching it. But I'm glad you need an insider to let you in on that one. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you. They kind of pioneered. There was like some other skate videos before that. Like Toy Machine had some good ones, but they were definitely amateurish. And then Shorty's Fulfill the Dream came out, and it was almost like a blockbuster movie.
I was going to say, now that when you use that term pioneered, it kind of made me think I've seen this one just from skater friends showing me other ones, but I'm going to definitely check it out.
You've probably seen it. So,
but I mean, I think I've said the word enough on here. I love punk rock. So obviously the music was like not only some of my first exposure to it, but like I was like instantly on board with the whole vibe of the game, Yeah. So definitely, even when I went back years later after I got deeper into punk, I was listening to this song way earlier than I thought. It was on this. It was on this game. They had AFI on this game. Like all that stuff. So, no, and even like, what really sticks out in my mind when I think of the Tony Hawk soundtrack? Like, what sticks out to you?
Are we talking Tony Hawk 1?
Just any of the games.
I'll go by series for the first 3. So 1 was definitely Goldfinger.
Okay.
2 was Anthrax Bring the Noise, or Anthrax and Public Enemy.
Nice.
And Evil Eye by Fu Manchu. And 3, I'm pretty sure, had the Dell, the Funky, the Homo Sapien song. You gotta wash your ass.
Yeah, that song's hilarious. Yeah, if you wanna ride with my crew or whatever,
Yeah, exactly.
Ass. I really like that it had Ace of Spades by Motorhead on there. That's pretty raw.
Yeah.
Not
So I
really
didn't hate everything
punk,
about
but-
3.
Oh no,
The soundtrack
no.
was banging.
Same with 2. I played the heck out of 2. Just wasn't my favorite, you know? So
Yeah.
uh
What about you?
well, I wasn't so much thinking that. I was gonna say, you know, when I think of the Tony Hawk soundtrack,
Uh-huh.
I think of the menu themes. They always had some wacky trip hop
Yeah.
cool beat going on.
Yeah.
But
With
the
like
fir-
a turntable scratch.
Yeah, and the first one has like the bird noise and stuff, you know, or monkey noises. That always stuck out in my brain as like so hip and fresh for the, and it perfectly captured like you're in a skate shop in the menu, you know, you're picking your skater, you're wearing your clothes. Like, it just felt so right. That's what really comes to mind for me. And it set the tone for the game. And
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned birds and monkeys because another skate video that was kind of big and pioneered it was Birdhouses at the End. You know, obviously Tony Hawk with the bird stuff.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Reynolds had an opening segment before his part where an orangutan is chilling with him in front of a camper or an RV. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it because Birdhouse was pretty much like the top tier for a little bit.
Yeah. I was curious what your favorite unrealistic tricks that they put in the games were.
Probably front flips and back flips. They can like people do them, but I think they're extremely difficult for them.
So you kind of like it that it's like right on the edge of possibility.
Yeah, because I mean there
That's
was
cool.
some special tricks in there where it was just, you know,
I kind of like the over the top ones, like grinding on the other side of the board and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's a dark slide. You can do that.
I guess
that was a
that's,
Rodney
you know,
Mullen special.
That's the thing is like I could see someone doing it. Obviously, not to the extent as in the game where you're going for
miles,
yards. I wanted to pick a correct measurement, yards on end. But it's like, yeah, some of them are pretty nuts, and I get a good kick out of that. I always liked that I felt like I was cooler than Tony Hawk because you had to do the 900 as a special move. But in the secret level at the end of Tony Hawk 3, you could do a 1440 off of like the top of the boat onto the lower one if you managed to land it just right. So I was
that's
like,
right.
Fuck your 900. I'm getting up to 18 soon, dog. People better than me could probably do one more step up. I don't know the math.
For sure.
Yeah. So anyways, no, I loved playing those games. Yeah, they left a lot of marks on me as far as just like getting better at reflex games, affecting my taste in music, just being exposed to other parts of culture.
Yeah, for sure.
They were a blast, man.
Yeah, the music for me was definitely the biggest part. I don't think I'd be listening to the same stuff if it wasn't for Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
I think it like helped plant the seeds for me. It's not so much that it like grew on me instantly, but I was like, oh, I know this. Oh yeah, this was always cool. I liked when this one came on Tony Hawk. Like, what band was? Oh, what are their other songs? You know, and it kind of grew from there as I grew up. So
yeah, for sure.
Like I said, it was really cool when I revisited it, and I was like, oh, I know this song. I know this song. I know this band. You know, I was like, oh, sweet, they had it right. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll still find songs sometimes that pop up on Spotify that's from like an old skate video and I can see the whole part in my head.
That's great, man. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, I think that just about wraps up our talk about Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I think it was a lot of fun to reminisce about that stuff. Unless you had other stuff to share about skateboarding, Toby.
I mean, don't try skateboarding if you haven't done it before and you're maybe over the age of 25.
Oh,
that's not me being ageist.
No,
that's me being a realist.
Yeah, I agree with that recommendation. And anyone listening to this podcast who can relate to these memories should not be stepping on a skateboard for the first time. Yeah,
exactly. So, but other than that, I mean, I just know it was probably the biggest part of my life. I mean, I quit Little League for it. So,
hey man, you do.
And I was way better at baseball than skateboarding. So I don't know if
do what you like, man. Do what's fun. Do what's important to you. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
If anyone who can't relate is listening, take that advice away. Do what's important to you. Do what's right. Do what you want to do.
And if you want to play Tony Hawk, play Tony Hawk.
That's right. That's right. All right. I think next week I'm going to be getting schooled a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. So with football season coming up, I'm not a huge football fan. I'll watch it if it's on, and I'll especially watch it during the playoffs and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff.
Because I like exciting sports.
Yeah.
But with football starting, I think we're going to bring it back to one of my childhood classics, Little Giants.
Yeah. Now, I have limited experience with this one, so we're going to have a bit of a different dynamic. I'm going to have to watch this and try and put myself in my old 1994 brain, is it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yep. Well, I'm going to do my best.
Well, here's the thing. I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy it, Peter. It has a great cast. Rick Moranis.
Oh, man. It's always good to see him.
Yeah, Ed O'Neill. Oh. I'm pretty sure that was one of Rick's last movies before he retired.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It was probably Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or somewhere around there. But
if you count those as movies,
yeah. The kids in the cast are they hit it out of the park too. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
All right. Well, I hope I can agree with you. I'm sure I will. Be sure to check in with us next week. And we'll be discussing Little Giants. Until then, make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, rate and review on Apple Podcast, and follow us on Twitter at RaisedByThe90s. Have a great week.
See you later.